Hi students, I'll try in this educational video to technologically introduce the load combinations based on Eurocode standards, of course, as simply and as clearly as possible. Okay, let's go. Well, first I will explain the ultimate limit state and the serviceability limit state. So when we consider steel construction, and we consider loadings applied on this steel construction, the resistance verification of the steel construction as well as the different components of this steel construction should be carried out under the ultimate limit state denoted by ULS and the serviceability limit state denoted by SLS. The ultimate limit state is directly related to the safety of the structure and the different elements that constitute the structure. This means that we should carry out a strength resistance verification of the steel structure as well as the different elements that constitute the steel structure under ultimate loading or under the ultimate values of the various loading applied on this steel structure. The various loading are the bending moment Bm, the shear force Sf, the buckling B, the shear buckling Sb, the lateral torsional buckling Ltb, etc. Here, ultimate loading means the value of the loading above which the mechanical properties of the considered element of the steel structure starts to deteriorate. Now for the SLS, serviceability limit state, it's directly related to the correct service of the structure. This means that we should carry out a resistance verification of vibration, cracking, and deformation of the different elements that constitute the steel structure when they are subjected to everyday loading. Notice here that everyday loading is not the ultimate loading. The everyday loading means the normal loading carried out during the normal conditions of use. Now I will talk about the classification of loading or actions based on the Eurocode standards. So the actions are classified into two types: the permanent actions denoted by the letter J and the variable actions denoted by the letter Q. The permanent actions, as their name suggests, are the actions that do not vary or do not change over time. They are principally the self-weight of the steel structure and the fixed equipment weights. And the variable actions are the actions that will vary over time, and they are principally the imposed load, the wind load, and the snow load. So as you can see, we have different types of actions, and it seems that the influence of these actions on the resistance of steel structure differs from one action to another. So we have to imagine, or we have to carry out a load combination or an action combination reflecting how these actions will be applied together on the steel structure. Now I'll talk about the load combination based on Eurocode standards. So the load combination should be carried out under the ultimate limit state and also under the serviceability limit state. For the load combination under the ultimate limit state, it's given by the formula that you see now in this slide. And as you can see, we have a sum of weighted permanent actions, and here the weighting coefficient is gamma j, and a weighted pre-stress, the coefficient of weighting or the weighting coefficient is gamma p. And as you can see, a leading variable action is distinguished among the variable actions. This leading variable action is highlighted by the subscript 1, and it's weighted by the weighting coefficient gamma q1, and the other variable actions are weighted by two weighting coefficient, gamma q and psi 0, and they are summed. So here the weighting coefficient gamma is the partial factor, and it's given by the table that you see now in this slide. Here unfavorable and favorable means that the action is unfavorable with regard to the stability of the structure or favorable with regard to the stability of the structure. So here gamma J is the partial factor that should be associated to the permanent actions, and gamma Q is the partial factor that should be associated to the variable actions when the action is unfavorable, which means the action deteriorates the stability of the structure, or the action is favorable, which means that the action enhances the stability of the structure. We have also the table giving the combination factors psi 0 when in the case of imposed loads for the different categories A, B, C, D, E, F, J, and H, and also the combination factors for the snow load and the wind load. It's to note here that the pre-stress P is generally neglected. It's to note also that the load combination under the ultimate limit state can be also obtained as the less favorable between the two formula that you see now in this slide. The less favorable formula simply means the formula that gives the highest value of load combination. Now for the load combination under the serviceability limit state, we have three types of load combination. We have the characteristic combination, the frequent combination, and the quasi-permanent combination. And for the resistance verification of steel construction, we will use the characteristic combination. Well, this educational video takes end. Please, if you have any remarks or suggestions, please mention it in the comments. Thank you very much for your attention.